What's up, guys? How's it going? Sorry I haven't done a review in a while. Honestly, just haven't really been in the mood to. I've been focused on shop stuff and just, life things. The camera's gonna move a little bit. I apologize. I don't have my original setup or my traditional setup sorted, so I have a bootleg setup right now. But whatever. So today we're going to review the Kizer. I think this is the Phoca? Yeah, this is the Phoca. Kizer Phoca. This is a newer knife. This is the button top liner one. 14C satin blade aluminum scales. I didn't really care much for when this came out, to be honest. When I first saw it available. I'm gonna be honest. This camera moving frequently is gonna drive me fucking nuts. I don't think I have anything like more sturdy to put on. This is like the most bootleg setup ever. It's sitting on my bed at the moment. Anyway, so basically, when this knife came out, I didn't really think too much of it. I didn't even really get asked for it when it first came out. I don't know if it wasn't a very popular launch or what, but I also know that Kizer, when they launch knives, the Kizer doesn't really miss. Kizer is just one of those brands where they just make good knives. Like, I don't think I've had a Kizer where I was like, this is okay. Apart from like the Mini Bay. The Mini Bay was the exception to that rule. So anyway, we'll get into this. Oh, also it passed quality control apparently. So we'll open this with one hand. Let me make sure the camera doesn't fall over. There we go. Get this out of the baggie because it's just easier for me to do it off camera than to do it on camera. I usually do this at my table or desk, but everything's a mess. So right now it's just not the best option. Okay, so here is the Phoca. I wonder if there's anything I can like set this on, but I don't think there is. A top liner lock. For those of you who don't know what a top liner lock is, you have a button that pushes against a liner. So usually you have liners down here that hold the blade tang in place to lock the blade out, but this time you have the liner up here, which that way it offers you the button to play with. Very fidgety, nice deployment, all that fun jazz. But you still get, you get the fun deployment, but you get the safety of the liner lock because it's a more sturdy lockout than just a button lock. There's more contact to the blade tang than just the button. So first and foremost, I have to say that this is a very attractive knife, in my opinion. I do wish there were more colors. I think this is probably AOL. This is probably OAL aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm also not mistaken, OAL aluminum is naturally this color. I think there's also a micarta variant. I'm not sure what the other variants are, to be quite frank with you. I know there are a couple other variants. I saw this one, got it. The other variants are clutch lock or what do you call? Not clutch lock. I think clutch lock is Kizer's version of the axis lock. I don't like axis locks, if I'm honest. They just don't feel good to me. Most times, I know like everybody's over the moon about them, but most axis locks just feel like shit. And I just hate that. So I went with the button lock because also a lot of people like button locks, and it's a button lock top liner. So you're still getting a great lockout system, but you're also getting the very fidgetability of the button lock. detent is aggressive. I would say a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like impossible to flick this. I would say it's like a 6 or a 7. You have to apply a pretty good deal of force to get the blade out of detent, but you can still reverse flick it. It's very fidgety. As far as just using the button, you have incredible jimping. You have this jimping here, and then you have jimping way up here on the front of the blade, where you can really choke up for intricate cutting tasks. I think that this is a flat grind. I think it's a flat grind. It looks like a flat grind. Someone could correct me. But you also have this really nice kind of... I would consider this a spear-shaped blade. I could be wrong. But you have this really nice full blade belly. I don't know what this is labeled on their website. You guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But overall, this reminds me of a spear in a way. So maybe it's not a spear, but I love the fact that it's got a really thick blade belly. It's got this really nice grind. It looks like a flat grind, to be honest, but I could be wrong. You also have all this jimping down here. They really didn't shy away from where you're holding the knife, where the jimping needs to be. I know some people don't really care about jimping. Some people just aren't a huge fan of it. But if you're using a knife every day and you are not using gloves, because sometimes wherever you work, you don't have the option to use gloves. Not that you're not allowed to use gloves, but sometimes it's just, you just don't carry them on you. It's just not, you work a job that just doesn't, it's just one of those things. You just don't often wear gloves. And the fact that they offer jimping this aggressively on this knife is just really nice. It's just a nice perk. Fit and finish on this is excellent. Kizer just doesn't really miss, honestly, in my opinion. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, this setup is driving me fucking nuts. But I don't really have a way of fixing it, so let's see here. You do have a non-reversible pocket clip. I know for some people that's a deal breaker, but it doesn't really bother me all that much. My biggest complaint about pocket clips is tip-up pocket clips. I absolutely hate them. Any knife that I ever get a tip-up pocket clip, I just take off. But this knife is just fantastic. I think that if you're in the market for a new EDC, this is definitely one I would pick up. Most Kizers are incredibly sharp out of the box. I don't know if they're SRM sharp out of the box. I feel like it's it's really hard for a lot of companies to be SRM sharp out of the box. If you don't know what I mean, there's a company named SRM, and their knives are some of the sharpest knives out of the box. Even though they're generally they're like a lower budget, mid-tier budget brand, but Kizer usually doesn't disappoint with sharpness. This knife you could definitely shave with, from what I'm feeling. So Kizer does not disappoint in that regard. Obviously, you have dual lugs for thumb studs. The fit and finish on this is excellent. The blade centering, I would say I think it's perfect. Could be a smidge off center, but that also could be reflections on the standoffs playing tricks on my eyes. I think it's slightly to the right, but maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, excellent knife. Price point on this is, I think map on it is like $70, if I'm not mistaken. So like if you go to like Blade HQ or like was it Atlantic Knife Center, or insert other knife place online, you're probably gonna find it for like $70-$75 online. If you go to Kizer's website, my guess is it's probably gonna be somewhere in the 80s to 90s, but most times
you're probably just going to find it at MAP, minimum advertising price, minimum advertised pricing, just to get you a good deal. I'm trying to think of what else. It's got a little weight to it. I don't know what the weight of it is. I'm not looking at the website. It does feel quality. It doesn't feel like you're holding something cheap. The blade stock is, I would say it's kind of thick. It looks like it's, I would say, 2 mil. Here, let me get my calipers. I think they're up here. Are they up here? I lied. They're not up here. Okay, I take that back. No calipers here. Sorry. The blade stock looks pretty thick, though. I would say it's like 2.5 mil, maybe 3. It's pretty stock blade. Pretty stock. It's pretty thick blade stock. But I don't know. I also like thick blade stock. But yeah, the knife has some good weight to it. So it feels like you're holding something of value. Ergos are great, especially with the jimping. I do have a big hand, and it's very comfortable for me to hold. So even someone with a small hand will be very comfortable for you to hold. Does have a nice lanyard hole. So if you're a big lanyard person, there you go. The biggest thing for me, let me just pull this back a little bit. The biggest thing for me is the action. Super crispy, super smooth. Love that. Yeah, Kizer just knows how to build knives. Simple as that, man. Let's see, is there anything I don't like about the knife? Non-reversible pocket clip. That kind of sucks. I think that's one thing. That's definitely a drawback. Let's see. What else don't I like about it? I always try and I always try and point out things that I don't like about a knife. You know, so it's not all like, oh, this is such a positive review. Like, you know, something they could have done better. I think the detent could be a little softer. I'm not really sure why it's such a, like, you really do have to apply quite a bit of force to get the detent out. I was just messing with a Vosteed Raccoon 2.0 a couple days ago, and that thing is so incredibly crispy. Vosteed is just another brand that does not fuck around. They make some absolute bangers of knives. I will say that I absolutely fucking hate their margins. Their margins are dog shit. But aside from that, they just do it right, man. They like. I'm not a Vosteed fanboy in any way, shape, or form. I love all knives. I collect all knives. My knife collection is vast and full, from American made to Taiwan, China. I even have stuff from like the Netherlands. So it's all over the place. And I gotta say, Vosteed fucks. Vosteed knows what they're doing. And I definitely have to say that the detent could be a little less aggressive. This detent feels like it's like a 6 or a 7. It could probably be like a 4. Because if you're going to try and reverse flick this over and over and over again, you're eventually going to make your finger sore. If your fingers are on the softer side, I don't mean softer side as you have bitch fingers or bitch hands. I mean just in general. So we'll say could use a lighter detent, reversible pocket clip. I don't know if it comes in other colors, aluminum wise. I didn't look at the site, but if it doesn't, they could use more colors. Let's see. I think the button is aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. So the fit and finish on the button is very nice. So that's a nice little detail. There's no slop or play in it. All right, let me try and show you guys here. Yeah, there's no like slop or play in that. I'm working on making my own knives, so the more I work on my own stuff and I'm
focused on the mechanical aspects and things that people enjoy and like, the more I'm honed in on like the little details for that some people might miss, if that makes sense. Like slop in play in certain items, whether it's pivot, button lock, blade, etc. Detent, tension, all that jazz. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. I will say that I'm trying to figure... Oh, that's probably for the inner liner. I was trying to figure out what this other stop pin is for, but I think that's for the inner hold, to hold the inner liner in place, I assume. Let's see, is there anything else I could point out? I think that's really it, honestly. So yeah, softer detent would be nice, and reversible pocket clip. Those are really my only negatives. Should you buy this knife? Whoops, as I smacked the shit out of the box. Should you buy this knife? Yeah, I would say so. I think that this is a worthwhile everyday carry. This is a very nice knife. I mean, for 14C, for what, $70, I think it is. Yeah, the fit and finish is great, and it's got some heft. So if you like a knife that has some weight to it, has great materials, has great fit and finish, is a very solid action. Let's see, does it have any blade play? No blade play, none. Yeah, I would say that this is a knife that's worthy or considerable of, you know, a next EDC pickup. As far as a collector, I don't know. If you like collecting Kizer, sure, but if you're someone out who's, you know, hunting down the next best, like, fancy thing, probably not. Unless they come out with a premium version of this. If they come out with a Phoca that's like S90 or M390 or Magna Cut, with like crazy carbon scales or Timascus or something, then sure, but yeah. Alright. That is that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. That's the Phoca BD. Yeah. Have a good one, dudes. Remember, stay hydrated, eat some good food, be kind to yourself.